Welcome to Ray's Reality. I am your host, Ray Jones, and this is my podcast. And I want to welcome you today. And I want to do something. What am I going to do to get started? First off, I want to do something different. So let's get started like this. Let's have a good introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. Hey, how was that? How was that for an introduction? I hope you liked it as much as I did. Today's podcast, just like all podcasts, whenever I do them, I don't always jump right into it because I don't even always know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. But today I do know that we're going to have a reality check. We're going to have a reality check today. Like I have on every single podcast, we have a reality check. That's something I do, something I like to do, and it's Ray's Reality. First off, I want to say that I'm coming to you today. This show is being recorded here in San Antonio, Texas. Actually, I'm lying to you. I'm not in San Antonio, Texas. You can see by the background I'm in San Antonio. No, you can't see that. There's actually nothing but land out there right now because I'm actually outside of a place called Bandera, Texas. I'm in Bandera, Texas. Don't know if I'm saying it right, but forgive me if I'm not saying it right. And so yeah, it's a cool little town. About 45 minutes or so outside of San Antonio, maybe an hour from downtown San Antonio, like the Riverwalk area. Really cool little town. Lots of cool little shops and nice restaurants. And I want to say that I ate at one of the best Mexican restaurants I've ever eaten, ever in a long, long time. And the name of the place, they're not, they have nothing to do with me. I'm just throwing it out there. So if you ever come to Bandera, I'm highly recommending this place. It's might even mess up the name on that one as well. Don Cheapy's restaurant, Mexican restaurant, right on the corner. It's right next door to Lowe's grocery store, right on Main Street there. Really, I mean, just oh my gosh, the never-ending nacho chips that they bring you, and their salsa is the best salsa I've ever had. They have the best salsa. I don't even want to know how they make it or anything like that because I don't want to be disappointed, but it is, if I could know I could go to the store and buy it, I will buy it in a second. They have the best salsa ever. Not too spicy, just right there, but really good stuff. So anyways, if you're in Bandera, stop in there and check it out. So today, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I got things rolling around in my mind, but sometimes that's how I do it. I just I'm like, what am I gonna do a show about today? I don't know. I'm gonna just throw it out there. But I do want to get started with this. So today, I am prepared to do something stupid because that's what I do. So we're gonna start with today. We just came in November. It's November 2nd. And so tonight, it's Saturday, November 2nd. And tonight, we turn back to clocks. It's daylight savings time here. And most of the U.S., they turn back to clocks tonight. So when the fall, we fall back. In the spring, we spring ahead. And I just want to say that that is completely stupid. It's the dumbest thing. Why we do that, it's just it's an ignorant thing to me. Why we need to do that. Why we can't just leave the time where it's at, be done with it. Arizona does. Arizona, they got it right. If they don't do it anymore. I don't think. I know there's Indiana. I don't think they turn back to clocks. But so just real quick, I'm gonna demonstrate something. So take this napkin here, okay? Take this napkin as this is our daylight. This is our daylight. So let's take the daylight and let's cut part of that daylight off right there. All right, we just took the daylight. We're going to take it off right there. So what we're going to do with that daylight, because we need a longer day, so let's take the daylight, remove that daylight, and let's put it up here, and we're going to put it on top here. It doesn't make any sense. It's still the same length. No matter where, if it's on top or bottom, it's still the same. So the idea behind it was, hey, if we if we take an hour, let's fall back an hour and we'll have more daylight. No, you won't. It's the same amount of daylight. You're not adding daylight. You're not doing anything. If you want more daylight, my suggestion is wake up earlier. I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to do that, or a high IQ, all that ignorance. An engineer, that's probably who put that, the daylight savings time as an engineer. But, or somebody with a really high IQ, that's probably who did it as well. But yeah, it's still the same day. We have 24 hours in a day. And no matter what, we still have 24 hours. We're going to lose an hour a night, but not at the same time we're not. So, because we're still going to have the day's still going to be just as long. So it's stupid. It's stupid. Actually, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that Ron DeSantis of Florida and another person, another governor, actually put in, and they came up with some really good points about daylight savings time. When we turn the clocks back an hour, that actually really messes up. And people, by turning the clocks back an hour, we actually lose more lives, because people, when they're driving home from work at 5 o'clock at the rush hour traffic time, they get the sun directly in their face, because now the sun is setting right when they're going home. So it causes more accidents, actually. More people die because of that. We can actually save lives. We'd save a lot of lives if we could get everybody off their stupid phones while driving. That should be like a law, and it should be like a $25,000 fine across the world, that you get a fine of $25,000 and lose your phone privileges for life by texting while driving. That would help out tremendously. We could actually maybe get from point A to point B safely, and we wouldn't have to have 30 lanes of traffic, because we have 3. They're going too slow because everybody's on their phone. So let's add more lanes and add more lanes. No, just get everybody out their stupid phones. And then, besides that, just let's stop daylight savings time, because it's ignorant. It really is a stupid thing. If you need more daylight, then wake up earlier. So that's all there is to it. Be awake during the daylight time, because it's the same day. It doesn't change. The day is still the same. The night's still the same. Yeah, our nights get, days get shorter in the wintertime and longer in the summer, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. It has to do with the sun. It has nothing to do with what time it is, what we change, because it's still the same day. So anyways, we need to just stop doing that. What is today's show going to be about? Well, actually, one thing, because we're in 3 days, whatever, November 5th is voting day. I'm not going to mention any names that's going against Ted Cruz here in Texas. But another person, this guy, I'm not even going to mention his name, because I don't know if he's coming or going. He reminds me of, I'm going to forget the guy's name, Charlie Crist. Yeah, that's his name. Charlie Crist out of Florida, that one. I don't know. He's no longer around as far as I know. We don't hear nothing about him, which is a good thing. He changes his mind more than he changes his pants. Just this guy is the same way. And it's like his commercials that he's putting out there. I don't know if he's, like I said, if he's coming or going. And he doesn't know if he's coming or going. Which brings me to the fact that I'm having a hard time understanding a lot of things. So with that being said, I want to say, I'm looking at, anyway, I got my handy dandy notebook here, and I'm going to look at my handy dandy notebook, and because I got notes that I took, and my notes are missing right now. Isn't that wonderful? My notes are missing. I hate when I miss my notes. So, yeah. It's no good. It's no fun when I'm missing notes. Oh my goodness. Somebody stole my notes. I'm going to have a talk with my editors and my dog, because more than likely my dog stole my notes and ate them, because that's what dogs do. They steal your notes and eat them. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. I got them right here. Look at this. Check this out. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I got my notes. I'm good to go. So, anyways. So, what are we going to talk about today, Ray? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to discuss? We're going to discuss a matter, and it's going to upset a lot of people. So, hang on to your hats, because here we go. I'm going to talk about Christianity. And the reason I want to talk about Christianity is because in the United States alone, and pretty much the world, but I know I'm gonna just pick on the U.S. because we have the election coming up here in 2 days, 3 days. So in the United States of America, 60% of Americans call themselves Christians. 60% of Americans call themselves Christians. So the question is, where are you? If 60% of you consider yourself a Christian, call yourself a Christian, where are you? Hello, Christians. Where are you at? What are you doing? You should be out there voting for this election. And if 60% of Americans call themselves Christians, then that means, I'm going to say it, then that means Donald Trump should be getting 60% of the vote right off the bat. Not to mention all the other votes from the other 40% that don't consider themselves Christians. Because if you're going to call yourself a Christian and you're going to say you're a Christian, then you should not be voting against Christian values. Now, I know I can hear you right now. I can hear people right now saying, well, Donald Trump, when he was 18, he said something derogatory, whatever. That is the most ignorant thing somebody could talk about and say. So let's take everything that you have ever done your entire life and hold it against you. Every little single thing you've ever said, negative or anything. You're 21 years old. I know the ignorance just spewed from your mouth. I had a lot of ignorance spewed from my mouth when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So I'd admit it. I said a lot of stupid stuff. Did a lot of stupid stuff. Yeah, I still do stupid things. But, however, to hold it, to say that's why you're not voting for somebody is complete ignorant. But if you're going to call yourself a Christian and you're going to vote against Christian values, against Christianity, and you're going to vote for these things that Democrats are for, then don't call yourself a Christian, because you're not. If you're going to call yourself a Christian, then vote like a Christian. So that's what you have to, the lesser of the evils, okay? Have to vote for somebody, but let's not put the speedy checkout lane in, okay? Let's keep it just a regular checkout line where we have people, we all complain, I'm not going to get started on the self-checkout line because, yeah, you know what happens there, the theft. So, anyways, so 60% of people in the United States of America call themselves Christians. So, it's amazing. In the United States alone, there's roughly 345 million people in the United States. There's 8 billion people roughly in the world. So, technically speaking, I'm gonna just, Christians. Let me put it, I'm going to bring it down, I think. Let's see, what are we going to do? I think what I'm going to try to attempt to do is do a reality check. I want to do a reality check, and I'm going to put stuff in perspective, and I'm going to give you a little bit of what I like to, raise reality, okay? Let's look at some raise reality and a reality check. So, like I said, you're going to call yourself a Christian. 60% of Americans call themselves Christians. 60% identify, or however you want to look at it, as a Christian. What is a Christian? What is a Christian? That's a whole new podcast of its own. I'm not going to go that route today. I'm going to go with this route. So you're going to call yourself a Christian. Reality of the matter of the I'm going to say fact is, let's compare Christians. Oh, here we go. Let's compare Christians with another group. Let's compare 60% of Americans to a group that consists of about 3% of Americans, which is the LGBTQ people, the alphabet people, however you want to look at it. They keep adding letters. I don't know what to call them anymore, but the LGBTQ, gay community, whatever, 3% of Americans are in that group. Okay. Now, they're arguing right now, we're a lot more than that. Oh, look at us. The reason they say that is because they feel like there's a lot more. Because if you go down here to downtown San Antonio, or if you go to Dallas or Waco or any major city in Texas where I'm at right now, which I've been to several of them here in Texas, not to mention several cities across the United States, everywhere, and you go into the cities, even small towns across the U.S., you're going to find pride flags flying everywhere. That's what you're going to see. And there's only 3% of them compared to 60% of Americans. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but yeah. So if that's the case, where are the Christian flags? Why aren't we flying Christian flags? When you go down downtown streets, you see Christian flags everywhere, flying at homes, businesses, restaurants, coffee shops. They should have Christian flags everywhere to let people know, hey, I'm a Christian. I identify as a Christian. But maybe they're embarrassed. Maybe you are embarrassed to be a Christian, which you shouldn't be, because if 60% of Americans are Christians, they outnumber everybody. Any group in the U.S., they outnumber all groups combined if 60% of people call themselves Christians. So I can tell you a reality check. Real diehard Christians, not religious weirdos, people who are just all religion. I don't believe in religion because people focus so much on religion. And there's a huge difference between being religious and a Christian. A Christian is a complete different person than somebody who's religious. A person that's religious they're just religious. They can say they're religious. Now there's some religious freaks out there that are religious fanatics that are just weirdos that kind of represent a lot of that's people, that's what they see. Whenever you turn on the TV and you got some weirdo Christian guy, or religious guy out there standing on the corner, you're going to hell for you're going to hell for this and that, and that, you're going to hell for everything you do. I'm the perfect one. Look at me. I'm out here talking to you about religion because I'm going to change your mind because I follow religion. That is what you'll see out there on the corner. You don't see a diehard Christian out there on the corner preaching. So God tells us not to do that. You can go out there and preach all you want, but we're not to be out there trying to shove it down people's throats, unlike the other group that are trying to shove it down everybody's throats. And that's what people are tired of. They're sick of that. They're tired of having that shoved down their throat. So, but the thing is, like I said, if 60% of Americans are calling themselves Christians, we way outnumber any and all groups combined. Okay? All groups combined, 60% of Americans. That's, oh my gosh, I can't even do the math, but, that's a lot. A lot of people. That's a lot. I mean, I'm trying to do the math. 3, that'd be, oh man, hey, you know what? I'm going to do the math right here. I got my handy dandy calculator right here in front of me. So let's go here and do that. So let's see. Um, right there, a percent. So there's 345 million Americans roughly in the United States, and 207 million people call themselves a Christian. So they should be out voting. Why don't we see Christian flags flying everywhere, like I said? Why don't we have Christian flags flying off the back of trucks? Why don't we have Christian flag stickers all over our cars? Why aren't we never, when's the last time you've seen a car with a Christian flag sticker on it? When's the last time you've seen a so-called Christian driving down the street with a pride flag on it? You will see that much more than you will a Christian flag. And I'm calling you out. That's wrong. That's wrong. If you call yourself a Christian, then you should not be flying anything else but a Christian flag. You know, I'm not saying you shouldn't be, the American flag and all that. I'm just saying, what is your beliefs? If you're calling yourself a Christian, then we're supposed to act like a Christian. We're supposed to be showing people we're Christians. We're supposed to be out there letting people know, hey, this is the right way and the wrong way of doing things. You know, we're supposed to love everybody, love one another, love us all. But, however, like God, we can't accept your sin. We can't accept the sin of all these people, but that's where the world's going. We hush and we put out good and we welcome evil. So we bring in the evil. We accept everybody's sin, and it's okay. It's okay to accept people's sin, but don't you even think about telling someone, don't tell them you're a Christian, because you don't want them to know you're a Christian. You want to hide that because that's shameful. You want to be ashamed of being a Christian. It doesn't make you a better person. It should, because once you become a Christian, then you should live a Christian life. And if you're going to call yourself a Christian, then you should live a Christian life. You should vote like a Christian. You should act like a Christian. You shouldn't be out here, and I could right now name off 100 people I know that call themselves Christians, but yet it's Saturday night, they're at the bar drinking it up and cussing and swearing and calling themselves Christians. Yeah, that's not a Christian. That's not how a Christian acts. That's not what somebody does. So you become a Christian and you leave your sin behind. You go and sin no more, as Jesus said. Go and sin no more. God does not accept the sin. He hates sin. He does not like sin. So don't call yourself a Christian and you're going to continue to sin, because you're not. So that's a harsh, very harsh way for me to put that, but I'm putting it out there because it's extremely important. My reality, I'm going to bring this into reality. What percentage of Americans can we say really are Christians? And I'm honestly going to say, I'm not talking about people going to church and people that are religious. True Christian people out there, true Christians. I can tell you, for true Christian people out there, I'm going to put it that 60% of Americans that say they're Christians, we're going to bring that to reality, I think. And I'm going to put that at about, man, I'm going to put that on a I'm going to say, I'm going to go high and say 3% of people are real Christians. And the reason I say that I feel like that's a high percentage, at 3% of Americans are actual Christians, is because the people that are calling themselves Christians, they're out there, they're not voting like Christians. They're accepting all the sin. They're not out there showing they're proud to be a Christian. They hide it. So where's your Christian flag? Why aren't we flying Christian flags? I don't know if I'll be able to put it on here, but I didn't. online and that, but Raised Reality, I'm gonna actually, I want to take up a donation, a collection. I'm asking for donations. I'm asking for anything that you can give to help with my reality podcast. But I'd like to be able to go out. I want to buy Christian flags, to be able to buy them in bulk, and I'd like to just give them out for free to people who are proud to fly that Christian flag, to say, hey, I'm a Christian. And I'd like to see businesses everywhere being flourished and flourish with that Christian flag. You're not going to lose business. And if you do lose business, that's not a bad thing, because I don't think, if you have somebody that's against Christianity, and I don't think I'd want them in my store or my restaurant. You know, let's Chick-fil-A, they're not ashamed of who they are and what they do. They put it out there. And Chick-fil-A is one of the #1 businesses in the world. The United States alone, just Chick-fil-A has not been hurt by such a small percentage of people who disagree with their likings. You will not find a Chick-fil-A in the country, in the United States of America, at lunchtime or dinner time that does not have a line of people around that building. I have been all over the U.S. I have been I can't remember, I was around just recently, San Antonio area, the Rim, they call it the Rim. There's a Chick-fil-A over there. That place was slamming. The drive-thru slamming. Every Chick-fil-A you go by, they're slamming busy. Think about your business. If you're going, I would rather cater to the 60% of Americans who call themselves Christians over, another percentage of such a low rate of people. You got to look at how many people, who are you catering to? Are you going to cater to 3%? Or do you want to cater to the other 97%? Basically, that's how I look at it. So, and I know you're saying, well, you just said real Christians are 3%. Yeah, I'm taking those numbers by the 60% that call themselves Christians. So, I mean, people seriously, really, honestly, we're in trouble. This world's in trouble. And it's all biblical. It doesn't matter what we do. We can't change the future. We can't change, and like so many people are falling into these things. I know I'm against this Bitcoin and all that ignorance. If you want Bitcoin, I'm selling. I'm going to make up my own money and sell it. That's all you do. I had a discussion, a big discussion recently about Bitcoin and how they were trying to convince me how great it was. It's monopoly money. It is not real money. It is, and I know right now people are like, oh, well, you're lying. You don't even know what you're talking about. Oh. We already have our currency. We're going to be going to one world currency before we know it. And people are saying, well, that's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is accepted all over the world. Maybe that is what we're going to be going to. We're going to get rid of all them because we're going to one world currency, and eventually we'll have one world government. I mean, Obama already said he wanted to be the first world leader. So there's nothing we're going to do to change that. We can slow it down. We can possibly slow it down. I think about my kids and how bad the world's getting, all the ignorance they have to put up with, and the kids and so many people. It's like, I keep hearing about, Civil War. I don't want to see a civil war, but however, the top 2 civil wars that we would have in the U.S., maybe the top 3, 2 of the civil wars that we could have in the U.S., they're going to be extremely short-lived. 3 days, maybe a week, it'll be over. Okay. The third one, I think that would last a little bit longer, but people have to come into reality check and start looking at the numbers of the people who they're representing if there's a civil war, So because it doesn't work that way. It's kind of it's weird. But you really, like I said, reality. That's why I call this Raise Reality, because people need a reality check of everything. So, with that being said, if you're calling yourself a Christian, please go out and vote like a Christian. Act like a Christian. I'm going to bring this up too because I'm picking on everybody that calls themselves Christians. So many people they're going to hell. Hell is going to be overpopulated. Hell is going to be completely overpopulated. Heaven is not. I can promise you that. I used to think about, I think about it. I'm trying to think of the name. I'm sorry. I apologize. When Jesus comes back, when Jesus returns to take the chosen people, to take the people, I'm forgetting what they call that. I don't know why. I apologize. I should have had that. Some things just come to me right now, right this second. When Jesus comes back, the rapture. Okay, I was trying to think. The rapture. When the rapture happens, I honestly believe that the rapture is going to pretty much go unnoticed, because there's a lot of people that think they're going to heaven. A lot of people think that, well, I'm a good person, so I'm going to heaven. That is, that is not how it works. That's not how it works. Salvation, through Jesus Christ is how it happens. Not because you think you're a good person. You could live your whole life as a great person, do nothing but good things, never sin a day in your life. But if you don't know Jesus Christ, you're going to hell, period. So a lot of people think they're going to heaven. And I'm saying when the rapture happens, I think it's going to pretty much go unnoticed. People are going to go into work saying, hey, man, where's Bob today? Oh, we haven't seen him in a week. He disappeared. Yeah. So, and it's going to be like that. That's I think how the rapture is going to be. There's not going to be a lot of people going. There really isn't. I think about, and I said this wrong before because I wasn't, I actually had to do some more studying. But anyways, I think about Noah's Ark. And when God destroyed the world, he only took Noah and his family. Everybody else perished. Everybody on this earth at that time perished except for Noah and his family. So, it took him 100 years to build that ark. He told people. He said something to people. But everybody laughed at him, said he was an idiot. Called him a fool. And then later on, when people lived and seen and breathed at the time Jesus Christ walked this earth, and they still denied it. They watched and seen him do miracles. And it wasn't just one or two people that saw the miracles happen. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people witnessed Jesus Christ perform miracles. It wasn't just one person, making up a story. Hundreds of thousands of people on this earth seen that happen. Hundreds, if not thousands of people watched Jesus die on the cross. They were there to tell the stories that it happened. They watched it. They were there, but they still denied that. Just like today, there's more people on this earth now than there ever. So I'm going to say that I think throughout history, I can't remember how many, I want to say I think 300 billion, maybe more, hundreds of billions of people have lived on this earth. And I'm going to say not a lot of them went to heaven. Like I said, heaven is not going to be overpopulated. It is going to be not an overpopulated place. So really not. You know, as much as people want to believe something different, it's true. You need to get right, you know, period. You just need to get right and understand what the difference is. There's way too many religious people out there. One of my points I was going to add in there was in Florida, I saw a thing in Florida where 500 churches in the state of Florida, that's a lot of churches. 500 pastors from 500 churches in the state of Florida agreed that they were going to change the Word of God and make it okay for people to sin. They were going to just look the other way. It's okay to be a sinner. It's okay to sin. God loves you. Yes, they're right. God does love you. But you cannot continue in your sin. Okay? There's no other way around it. You have to understand this. So I know this podcast probably upset 98% of the people watching it, but it's a reality check that I think needs to be out there, because if you're going to call yourself a Christian, then you need to start acting like one. You need to start being one. You need to start voting as a Christian. You need to stop voting for murdering people, for the murder of babies. I said it, and I know that's a touchy subject with people. This, like I said, recently this guy's telling me he's a Christian. He's on national TV. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. But I'm okay with you getting an abortion. I'm okay with murdering babies. It's not okay. It is not. I mean, it is just, seriously, it is like too much. You know, unfortunately today we do have the right to, you know, or to do our own thing, but we don't have the right to murder another person. First off, we need to be making people out there, fixing them, getting them right. Okay? And I'm not, oh, so many people are out there. It's so, do you know how many people choose to do what they do? And then it's just so easy to go, oh, hey, I'm pregnant. Let me just go get an abortion. Who cares? Just let's get rid of it. You should think about that before you get pregnant. You should think about that. I'm not talking to just women. I'm talking to men and women. Okay? You need to understand that for your actions, there's a reaction. And if you're going to go out there and do this, then you need to, it's not, oh, we can just get rid of it. Who cares? You know? And it's just, this is the beginning. And they keep extending. It's my child. Okay, I got a 15-year-old daughter. I don't like the way she's talking to me. I'm tired of her attitude. She's horrible. We should legalize killing all. We should be able to kill our kids because they're our kids. What's the difference? It's a living, breathing human being. Well, they haven't breathed there yet. They're still a living, beating heart. It's a living being. And I'm not trying to get all technical on this one, but it's one of the things that everybody, you know, the big thing is, you can have an abortion and kill a human being, okay? Here's the funny part about that. If you go out to an eagle's nest, if you grab that eagle's egg, you're going to prison just for grabbing an eagle's egg. If you break that egg, you're going to get even more prison time. You might as well forget about it. You're going to prison for killing an eagle. That's what you're going to go to prison for. If you grab and steal an eagle's egg and you break that egg, you will go to prison for killing an eagle. and you'll go to prison for breaking the egg and getting in the net. They're gonna rack that stuff up, you know. So, and then here's the other weird part too about that. You can get an abortion, okay, at up to 9 months. They want to do. But however, if a woman that is pregnant, if a woman that is 4 months pregnant is murdered, the person who murdered her will be tried for 2 murders, for murdering her baby, unborn baby, and murdering her. How is that even possible? If the government's telling us it's not a baby, it's not a breathing, it's not a thing, how is it that you can be tried for a double murder on that? And I know this is deep and stuff, but I apologize. But still, these are things that doesn't make any, they're stupid, you know. I don't know why somebody, but that's the problem. And it bugs me. This really bothers me because I know a Christian woman. I don't, she calls herself a Christian. And she has had 7 abortions. She lived a life. She was a prostitute, a working girl. She was out there on the streets, clubs, you know, strip clubs, all that stuff. And she has had 7 abortions. Now, God can forgive her. But, however, if she calls herself a Christian, but they're not acting like Christians to this day, what you can call yourself anything you want. I guess nowadays you can identify whatever you want to identify as. And if I identify as a Christian, I can identify as a Christian, but you're not going to heaven. You can identify whatever you want to be, but you're not. It's not happening. So it's too easy for people. It's too easy. How do you live with yourself sometimes? I mean, I'm sorry. I apologize to the women out there that have had this. And I ask you, you know, just ask God for forgiveness. Ask God for forgiveness. You know, on top of that, if you don't want your baby, there's so many people out there that cannot have a child that would love to have your child. Love to have your child. So keep that in mind. But we do need to limit and we need to put, you know, like get some birth control out there. We need to it needs to be free. We need to have free birth control. That's what the government needs to set up. And we need to set it up for people not to keep having these abortion after abortion after abortion after abortion. So we need to set this up to where we help women and men, you know, with this. Let's just not make it, let's just get rid of them, flush it out, and it'll be done. So it's not a goldfish, you flush it down the toilet, you know? So after it dies, though. Anyways, so like I said, I know this is very, one of those things. I apologize, but I just, too many people call themselves Christians. I'm not seeing these people as Christians. I have several friends that call themselves Christians, and I see they call themselves Christians, but a lot of them too, which is probably going to be I need to do a different podcast on, but they seem to chase money more than they are God. Well, I'm a Christian, but yeah, all I focus on is making more money and money. That's not a Christian. Your love is for money. And then you want to do everything, and you go out there and you sin by saying you're doing this for God. You're not doing it for God. You're doing it for yourself, for the love of money. So many people. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm not going to call you out, but you know who you are. And I know if they watch this podcast, some of them, they won't be they won't talk to me again. But I pray for these people on a regular basis. I always pray for them. So, it's one of those things. It's, man, this is something that's been, eating at me because like I said, I see so many people call themselves Christians. And the only people you see out there on the street are these weirdo religious people, that are out there saying, hey, yeah, that, oh my gosh, I got in an argument with a guy in Newport Richey because he was a religious weirdo. He was telling me I was going to hell. He was a weirdo out on the street getting in my face telling me I was going to hell. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know my heart. Just, I don't know your heart. I do know that people are calling themselves Christians, and I do know for a fact that they're not voting like one, and I know they're not acting like one because I see them. If you're a Christian, people will look at you and know that you're a Christian and see that you're a Christian because you're not out there acting a fool and doing all these ignorant things and sinning and sin. You know, a good Christian doesn't have 3 DUIs while being a Christian. It's not, these things. Too many people call themselves Christians nowadays, and then they use the word so loosely. Now they have Christian Catholics and Christian Protestants and Christian atheists and Christian Scientologists and all these. Everybody calls themselves Christians now. They have no idea what the word means. They don't have no idea what it means to be a Christian, and they use that word loosely, like whatever. It's just a word, So, reality, man. Reality. We need to check yourselves as a Christian. 500 churches in Florida, pastors that are going to hell because if they were Christians, they would not be changing the Bible. A true Christian does not change God's word. And if you're going to call yourself a pastor, but yet you're going to change God's word and accept and be okay with people's sin and be afraid to preach about it and preach about sin, then you're not a pastor. God didn't call you to be a pastor. You're in it for the money. And you're going to hell. Oh, Ray, you can't let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Exactly. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Sin. Well, you're judging me. I am. As a Christian man, God tells me, I am to judge other Christians and look at them and tell them, you're sinning and God does not like your sin and you need to stop your sin. We go further as far as if I am with my church family, I belong to a big church, and in my church family, if somebody there is sinning, I am to call them out on that sin. If they continue to sin, I, as a Christian and a man of God, am to take their sin and go to the church and tell the church, hey, this person is sinning, and they refuse to stop their sin. The church will then address it, and if they still continue in their sin, they remove them from the church. Tell them, hey, you need to stop your sin. They're not there to make you and separate you. They are there to help you. So I can tell you, if you're a true Christian and God has truly, talked to you, you will know. You don't look back. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you, I became a changed man. It took me years. I grew up in the church and I was never a Christian until, within the past 15 years is when I became a Christian. That's when God was calling me. That's when God was talking to me. That's when I met the man that changed my life forever, Pastor James Gentry. That is the man who changed my life. That is the man who came to me and said, he did not give up. He was there for me. He told me, he talked to me, explained to me. He was there for me. So I love that man more than anything because he was there for me. I'm going to throw this out there because I know I'm going all over the place, but it's just something, I need to talk about. When I was a teenager, I met this guy at school, in high school, and his father was supposed to be a good Christian man. He preached at church, and he was part of the church, and he did everything in the church. And this man, Francis Pavlik, there in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm calling you out. So because the reason I'm calling this guy out is because this man told me I was going to hell a million times in my life. This man told me constantly I was going to hell. I swear every time I seen this man, he said, "You're going to hell. You're going to hell because you have a hot rod. You're going to hell because you have long hair. You're going to hell because you breathe. You're going to hell. You're going to hell." That's what this man told me every single time I saw him. "I'm going to hell. You're going to hell. You need to get to church. You're going to hell." The one thing that this guy never, ever, ever did in my life, I am 50 years old. I met this guy when I was 15 years old. I was 15 years old when I met this guy. And I'm 50 years old. Yeah, he could be dead by now, I don't know. But I've not seen him in years. The last time I spoke to him, I know, was 15 years ago. And never once in my life did this man ever tell me about salvation. Never once did this man ever try to introduce me to Jesus. Never once did he ever speak of me being saved and being a Christian. All this man did for years, for many, many, many years, is tell me I was going to hell. And now I can look back at that and I can tell you, Francis Pavlik, you better get right with God, and you need salvation. You need to pray and become a Christian, because in my mind, you're the one going to hell, because you never showed me that you're a Christian. You never showed that you're a Christian. You never acted like a Christian. The things that you said, you never had love. You never had love for me. You never had love for your son. I'm sorry to say that. It is a fact. All you did is tell me and him how we were going to hell. The love, and then your love for money was the other thing. I'm sorry, but I seen it. I'm here today. I'm here right now to tell you that that's what it is. I will call people out on my podcast every now and then, because I think God wants me to. So another guy I'm going to pick on is Brad, and this one's going to be touchy because of my family. Brad Bigsby, I think, out of Florence, Kentucky, I think it's Calvary Church there. Sorry, Brad, you call yourself a pastor, but you don't show people and tell people about salvation. I came to you when I had questions. When I was looking to be saved, you turned me away. You turned me away. You did not talk to me, which was a good thing, because in my book, bad if I would have died, because I would have been going to hell and then my blood would have been on your hands. But however, you turned me away, and Tom, a friend of mine, Tom, he was there for me. Tom repeatedly talked to me about Jesus, repeatedly told me, "Hey, I want you to be in heaven with me, buddy. I want you to be with me. I want you to be part of my church family." He invited me to church, and I will never forget the day I went to Walmart there in Florence, Kentucky. As I'm walking through the store, there stood Tom and his wife. And Tom walked up to me and he grabbed me on the shoulder and he said, "Listen to me." He said, "I want you," he goes, "I'm not asking you." He said, "I am telling you to come to church tomorrow. I will come to your house and I will get you myself. You're coming to church. You're going to come there." We spoke for a while. The next morning I got up and I went to church. I went to his church, and he introduced me to Pastor James Gentry. And I never looked back. Never once did I look back. I seen more things. I seen more people coming to God through Tom and Pastor Gentry than I have ever anybody else in my life. So not that I just seen things that were just, happen in the church. So That to me means a lot. If you're going to a church right now and your church is accepting sin, then you're going to the wrong church. If you're going to a church right now, and when I was a child, I could not stand the altar call. Could not stand an altar call. Oh my gosh, that was the worst part of my life. I ended up going to a church that didn't have an altar call, and then I went to another church that didn't have an altar call, which I was like, oh man, this is great. I'll go to this church. They don't have an altar call, and I have to sit there for 2 hours listening for altar calls, which an altar call shouldn't be like that. But I'm here today to tell you, if you go to a church that does not have an altar call, then you're going to the wrong church. Every church in the world should have an altar call. Every church. It's not to point somebody out, not to call somebody and not to tell somebody they're going to hell, not to embarrass somebody in the church, but every church should have an altar call. And if that person God is calling them, then they would know and they will get up and they will do that altar call. But churches that don't offer an altar call, to me, is not a church. I will not go to a church that does not have an altar call. Now, that doesn't mean at the end of church that we're going to have 40 songs and we're going to sit there for 2 hours. I know there's someone here that just needs to come up here. I know someone here, and they'll start picking people out of the crowd. That's not what I'm talking about. Every church should give, if they want to play one song, then play that song and have that song and let people know that they have an altar call. Don't sit there and try to force them and antagonize them, because that's not what it's about. But you should have an altar call. If you have a church, if you're a pastor of a church, your church should have an altar call. So, and your church should follow the word of God, not man's word, not what man needs, not what man wants. It's what does God want? What does God need? What does God want from you? What can you give God? It's all about your relationship with God, not a religion. So I'm not picking on religions. I am. I am picking on, I'm sorry, Catholicism. Everything about Catholicism is wrong. And I have several people that are Catholic. And I try to talk to them, and they refuse to think of anything else because they've been brainwashed their whole life with the religion. So it's the Word of God, the Holy Bible, God's Word. There is nothing else. Quit with the religions. That's what really messes everything up, is these religions are what separates themselves from God. These religions accept sin. So you can call yourself Baptist, Catholic, whatever you want to call yourself. But if you are accepting the sin of man, then you're not a Christian, and you need to become a Christian. So the rain's coming down. I know you can hear it. You should be able to hear it. It's pouring. So it's a rainy day here in Texas. Anyways, so this particular podcast has been, on my heart to do this and talk about it because of the election coming up and everything. And I should have done it a long time ago, which I did try, but I've been having technical difficulties as usual. But as far as everything goes, I'm praying for our presidencies. I'm praying for Donald Trump, but I'm praying more for Kamala Harris. I'm praying hard for Kamala Harris. I'm praying a lot for her, because God can change her heart. God can make her a better person. God can make her anything he wants if he wanted to. But it's only going to be a relationship with God if she ever has it. And people, well, what do you call it? It is what it is. She's not a Christian. They all call themselves Christians, and they all call themselves Christians. But are they acting like ones? Are they doing what they're supposed to as a Christian? They're not. They can call themselves anything they want, but are they acting like it? So, and a lot of people here comes Easter, the first Easter. The dumbest thing ever. Here's the first Easter of the new presidency. What church are they going to? Who cares? Are they a Christian? Are they a true Christian? Are they have Christian values? Are they acting like Christians? Are they talking like Christians? Are they doing what they're supposed to do as a Christian? They are not. And very few people in Washington are Christians. They can call themselves that all day long because they want your vote. And people say, well, they're, the Christian values. This particular guy here in Texas, he's on national TV. I'm a Christian. No, you're not. Because if you were a Christian, you'd be acting like one. You'd be talking like one. You would not be going against Christian values for sure. So, period. Ted Cruz is not out there calling it himself. I have not heard him say he's a Christian, but I can tell you that he's more of a Christian than this other guy because he's got better values, much better values. So, period. So that's my word. That's what I'm saying. It's just kind of, just with all the stuff that goes on, so many different things out there. Just, it's, man, it's aggravating. It really is aggravating sometimes. I get upset. I try not to get upset, but what I need to do is pray for people. I need to pray. And like I said, I pray for the presidency. I pray for Kamala. I pray for Donald Trump. I pray for Biden. So Biden needs prayer. Biden needs a lot of prayer. He's bad off. I don't care what anybody says. He doesn't have much time left. He's an old guy, and his time is limited. And you would think that these people, nobody cares if they go to heaven or hell. They're perfectly okay. Like I said it once, I said it a million times. Mike Warnke, comedian Mike Warnke, he said it best. He said it best. People are out there going to hell. They know they're going to hell. They're out there with shovels digging a hole, and they're going, I'm going to hell, digging a hole, saying, let's go. They're doing it. They're trying to go to hell, And I'll never forget, a family member told me one time that they were partying in hell with their friends. I pray for my family all the time because they're good people. And they call themselves, I don't know what they call themselves, to be honest with you, but it's sad. I don't call themselves Christian. I don't call them Christians. They can go to church every day of the week. Doesn't make them a Christian. And they certainly don't act like Christians. So, it's one of those things. It's just one of those things, period. So anyways, I could sit for the next 5 hours talking about this. I'm not going to. I'm going to finish this up. I am going to do some more other podcasts on all kinds of different things and try to have some fun. I always keep saying that, but I know I just been kind of boring with all these other podcasts, trying to get stuff out there, but I'm just trying to get out there a little bit. I'd appreciate you, to share this if you enjoyed it, if you liked it, if you think somebody needs to hear this, by all means, you need to let them hear it. Let them know to come hear it. I'm going to be putting it out there before too long that, I am going to take donations for several reasons. I have groups that I help out. We have individuals we help out. And I'm going to, like I said, be putting it out there, not on this one, but hopefully in the next podcast, I'll have something I can get out there to be able to get donations, to be able to do several things. I'm taking up donations to collect Bibles. There's a gentleman over in Pakistan, I think it is, that he's begging for Bibles. So I'd like to be able to send him Bibles. The Bibles cost $20 a piece. So hopefully I'll be able to collect and get Bibles out to them because they're begging for Bibles. So, I've been talking to different people about doing a lot of different things, but even here in the U.S., we need a lot of Bibles here in the U.S. So people need a lot of things. So, like I said, I hope you enjoy this. I'll be praying for everybody. If you need prayer, please comment that you need prayer. You don't have to tell me what you need prayer on. If you need to, make a simple comment, God knows. God knows your heart. God knows people need prayer. Maybe you're not a Christian and you just want to just say, hey, pray for me. It doesn't matter. God knows your heart. Okay. God knows your means. If you don't even have to be a Christian to have prayer for somebody else. So, and I'm not saying that, by all means, I wish we all were Christians. I want to see everybody in heaven. It bothers me so much to think people are going to hell and they don't care. That makes me want to cry, okay? I don't want nobody going to hell. I don't want, not even my worst enemy, because you can't come back from it. We live on this earth such a short time. Such a short time we live on this earth. Eternity is eternity. If you live 70 years, 80, 90, even 100 years on this earth, that is nothing. That's a fragment of eternity. So do you want to live eternity in heaven or spend it in hell? So, if you know somebody needs prayer, I'd be happy to pray for them. I pray for anybody and everybody. So if you need prayer, not only I set it out there, so I have a prayer group, and I put it out there so it would be more than just me and my family praying for you and whoever you need prayer for. But I pray for all my listeners. So matter of fact, I'm going to end this. Got a few more things, but I want to right now. I do want to pray. So God in heaven, hear my prayer. God, I come to you and I ask you to lay your hands on our, Donald Trump. Lay your hands on Kamala Harris. Lay your hands on the people who are out there running for office. Lay your hands on them. Let them be true Christians, Lord. Lord, I ask you to lay your hands on all the Christians in this country, to have them come out, have them vote. Have them vote for the right things, Lord. Lord, right now, anybody listening to this podcast, anybody listening out there, if they need prayer, Lord, I'm praying for them. I ask you to lay your hands on them. Let them know that you're listening. Let them know that they can open that door, and let them know that the door to their heart can be open and you can be with them and they can be in eternity with you in heaven. Lord, anybody that's sick, cancer, it doesn't matter what the disease is. If anybody has a disease that they need prayer for, I'm praying for those people. And you know each and every person, every single person, Lord, you know them. And Lord, I ask you to put your hands on them. I pray for all these people, these religious people, Lord, that they see the truth, they see the light, they see the word of God and only follow the word of God and understand it. I pray for all these churches that are accepting sin, Lord. I pray for all these pastors that are allowing this stuff to happen in their churches. I pray that they see and understand the truth and they change the way they're doing. And Lord, I pray that we start seeing Christian flags pop up all over the U.S., all over the world. I want to go downtown to any downtown area. I want to start seeing Christian flags being flown. I want to see Christian flags in windows. I want to see Christian stickers of the flag, so we know that these people are Christians, so they can fly the flag, and we know that they are Christians, Lord, and they're following you and doing the right thing, Lord. I want to see that. Let's get that going. In God's name I pray, amen. So, it's important to me to do these things. I feel God has called me to do these podcasts, to do this, because I love to talk. I love to speak. I'm a speaker. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a preacher. I learned my Bible. I study my Bible, but I am not a pastor. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a preacher. I'm a speaker. I'd love to come to your church and speak if you'd let me. I got all kinds of stuff I can talk about. I'm funnier in person. I promise. I'm funnier in person. I'm goofy. So if I'm able to do things, sometimes I'm serious on some notes depending on the situation. But sometimes you just got to be serious. Sometimes you got to be serious. I got some podcasts, a ton of podcasts coming up anyways, shows, whatever you want to call them. So I do have a Raised Reality on several different formats on YouTube, which you might be watching on YouTube or Spotify. I also got another, I got RV Serious YouTube channel, talk about RV stuff. I just got a few things on there, but I'm going to continue stuff. I'm actually going to be talking about RVs on here as well. So keep that in mind. Because I do RVs. We full-time RV. I know I told that before, but that's what we do. We travel all over the country. We've been talking about doing some other things. We're trying to get back to Florida. That's our what I call my home base. So I'd like to be able to do things more in Florida, and I miss my church family there in Florida. But I don't know. We're going to see where I might end up going to Oklahoma. We're being called. Pastor James Gentry, I recently hooked up with him recently, and he's in Oklahoma, so I may go visit with him for a little bit. We've been asked to come to South Carolina, for a little while. Problem is, well, we're full-time RVers, and we're in a travel trailer, and it gets cold in the wintertime, and I don't like cold. I shrivel up like a little spider. I don't do good in the cold. I'm horrible. I don't like cold, but I can tolerate it. But it gets cold in this RV. We've been here 2 years, and spending 2 years in this RV all over the country. Last year, thankfully, we were in Florida. The year before, we were in Arizona, and I did freeze quite a bit there. It was cold, snowy, icy, rainy, freezing. But I had fun. We had fun. So anyways, I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and I want to just end this, and I say thank you. Thanks for watching. Please share, please like, please comment. Good or bad, I'll take it all, because God's with me, and I've been criticized a lot, and people put me down. Heck, my own family don't talk good about me. So hey, I don't care. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you.